All right, everybody, let's jump right into it. Today we're going to talk about Tyson Fury, Undisputed versus Usyk, and how everything unraveled yesterday. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean. Hey, and if you're tuned in, I'm happy to have you here. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the mix of everything. Like I always say, we're going to jump into the thick of things. So, yesterday, if you were able to witness, we saw the undisputed fight between Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. And it lived up to the hype. You know, I've been thinking about it for the longest. We've been in chat rooms and boxing groups on FB, and all we've been doing is having different banner. Shout out to the guys over in UK. We had banner with and have fun with it. And that's what it's all about. Strong opinions, debates, and having fun with the sport of boxing and something that we all have a common ground and something that we like. All right, so on the undercards yesterday, you had the young Moses and Toma versus Ija, a fighter that I had only seen for the first time. And this is maybe like my second or third time to bear witness to the young, up and rising British fighter, Moses and Toma. Moses and Toma is 19 years old, and basically he wanted to be the next guy to be like the quote-unquote like a Mike Tyson. And he had a strong finish yesterday. He finished his opponent in the first or second round with a knockout. This young man is very, very dangerous. He has a lot of speed, and I'm just looking forward to see what the future holds for a young up-and-coming boxer like himself. So shout out to Moses and Toma. And if you have a chance, just look up some highlights on YouTube, Moses and Toma. He shows up and shows out every single time. Also on the undercard, a guy who I started to personally like due to one of my guys over in Australia was the Australian fighter, John Alpattaya. He had a fight, actually a rematch, versus Briedis. The first fight was a war. The second fight was another war. So basically, Ja came out bouncing on his feet. Briedis was more or less more of a flat-footed approach when they got in the center of the ring, or when Ja was able to push his opponent on the back foot just a little bit. He was able to line him up and get off his shots, being a southpaw fighter, getting off 2, 3, and 4 punch combos. Here and there in spots, Briedis was able to counterattack, counterpunch, and mix it up with Ja. But to me, Ja had the more of the work rate, being like a younger fighter by a little bit. I think by I won't even say a little bit. I think by like maybe 9 years. So anyway, as the fight went on, Briedis did pick up the pace some. He had some success. He was able to show signs of swelling, not only on himself, but he has signs of swelling on his opponent, John Alpattaya. And in the end results, John Alpattaya won, and he was able to get a unanimous decision. A unanimous decision win in that fight. I look forward to seeing more from him, too. He's a young, up-and-coming fighter. I believe of Samoan background, but lives in Australia. So look out for John Alpattaya on YouTube as well. And then you had the main event. Well, just before I go there, let me talk about Frank Sanchez. We haven't saw him fight in quite a while. He's from Cuba. He has a Cuban style. His nickname is the Cuban Flash. He came in there very bulky, and I thought he should be a lot leaner as far as a lot less muscle mass, but he looked pretty big. And going against Caballero, a person that I know likes to do body attacks, I knew that eventually he might get to Frank Sanchez. and he implemented the game plan and carried it out. He was able to go upstairs, downstairs, and focus on the body of Frank Sanchez, ripping left and right hooks to the body, to the core, and eventually dropping his opponent, Frank Sanchez. Frank Sanchez rose to his feet and tried to get back into the fight, but I felt like he was too far gone, and that body shot took a lot out of him. And knowing what he knew, his opponent, Caballero, jumped back on him and swarmed on him and went to the body once again and was able to drop him and stop the fight. So shout out to Caballero on a very, very good stoppage. And what the future holds for Frank Sanchez, I'm not sure. So let's jump into the main event, because that's what we're all here mainly for. Because that's like your main course meal, right? All right, so what you had was Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury, 6'9", versus Oleksandr Usyk, 6'3". So you had about a 5 or 6 inch differential between two fighters. And then you also had a 7-inch reach advantage with Tyson Fury, who was the bigger man. Came in weighing like 262 pounds. And then you had Usyk, who was at a record high weighing like 232 pounds. Usyk, age 37, Tyson Fury, age 35. I know I might get some backlash for what I'm about to say, and that's fine, because we're here to be an open table and to discuss boxing. But I want to kind of touch on some things I talked about in chat rooms and on certain posts on FB. Yes, Tyson Fury, first of all, respect to Tyson Fury, first of all. Let me give him his roses. A very, very good fight. Salute. He's a warrior. However, I felt like he was treading lightly with his opponents in the aspect that there was a lot of other fighters he could have chose, but after like Deontay Wilder's first fight, he chose to fight opponents like Tom Schwartz, and then he fought Otto Wallen, who was maybe a step up from Schwartz. And then he did a rematch with Deontay Wilder, and then after that fight, it was a back and forth on trying to make the fight happen. The arbitration happened, things of that nature. And then eventually their trilogy happened where Tyson Fury was able to knock out Deontay Wilder in their third epic fight. After that, he fought Dillian Whyte. And Tyson Fury pretty much kept his distance with him, went on the back foot when needed, but knew when to be aggressive. And he was able to catch Dillian Whyte in like the 7th or 8th round coming towards him, and he threw an uppercut that knocked out the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte. All right, so after that, we were thinking we want to get the Usyk fight. But then he fought Derek Chisora, a fight that many people frowned upon because this is an opponent that he had already beat twice convincingly already. So he fought Derek Chisora. And then after Derek Chisora, he fought a novice, an MMA fighter, Francis Ngannou, who gave him a very, very tough fight. Some would argue that that Ngannou won that fight. Now, I'm not here to say Ngannou won, but it was a tight fight, and it was definitely a fight that people felt Fury shouldn't have struggled with an opponent on that level who was a debutante stepping into the sport of boxing. So, anyways, from that point, I felt like it was an inconsistency because, like I said, you go from Wilder, who people felt is not skilled but very, very dangerous, but not what you would call an elite opponent. You go from Wilder, and then you take a step down, going to Tom Schwartz. You take a step up, going to Otto Wallen, and then you go right back up to Wilder. So it's like you were here, you went down, and then you went here, and then you came back up to the level that you were at instead of going from here on up the ladder, kind of, to an extent. So I think that once he jumped up to an elite prime fighter like Usyk, he proved to be a little bit too much to handle. It wasn't a blowout, so I'm not going to go there and say it was one-sided. However, a lot of people are arguing with the judges. It ended up being a split decision win in favor of Usyk. But a lot of people argue that it should have been a unanimous decision. I felt like the 10-8 round, which was the round 9, where Usyk pretty much had knocked Fury up against the ropes on one side, and then he had him going to the other side of the ropes, that the ropes pretty much were his best friend. They kept him on his feet. And then the ref finally stepped in when I felt like, and a lot of other people felt like the ref should have waved the fight off. Like, come on, dude. I mean, what you going to do? Stop the fight or just let Usyk do what he was doing, you know? So there's a little bit of controversy there. Let me know in the comment sections what you felt. Should the ref have stepped in when he did, or should he have not stepped in and let Usyk do what he was about to do? He ended up giving Fury a standing 8 count, and a lot of people were just wondering why the fight was even continuing from that point, from the 9th round. So anyway, it ends up going 12 rounds, and Usyk won by split decision. The first 2 rounds I gave to Usyk. The 3rd round, 4th round, and those rounds in between, kind of like some were swing rounds, some go to Fury. Fury probably won a good 3 rounds straight, using his reach advantage, going to the body and going to the head, kind of doing the upstairs, downstairs thing, and frustrating Usyk just a little bit. But eventually, Usyk got back into his mojo, like he normally does, and he started to turn up. Round 7 and 8, he's slowly coming back into what we know him to be. And it was round 9 when he caught Fury with that left hand that buckled Fury, and his eyes rolled. He's like, oh, man, he's really hurt. And you heard the commentator say, oh, he's hurt. And then Usyk just goes full steam ahead. Left hook, right hook, right hook, left hook, all that kind of stuff. And it was getting pretty bad for the Gypsy King. But like I said, salute to both of those guys. They showed a lot of grit and a lot of courage and a lot of heart. It's supposed to be a rematch in October, so look out for that. Hopefully it happens and it does come to fruition, because the first fight ended up being a good fight. So a lot of people feel like the second fight would be even better. So if they do rematch, how do you see that going? You have Tyson Fury, who's obviously the bigger man, and then you got Usyk, the smaller guy. So can Usyk make Thunder strike again for the second time? Or will it be a situation where Fury has a different game plan and a different strategy, makes adjustments, and he does get a knockout in the second fight? I mean, how will it go? Boxing, you see crazy things, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, you saw Roy Jones win the first fight with Tarver, but then get knocked out in the rematch. So just let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, I appreciate all the viewers worldwide. So please hit the subscribe and the like button and hit the bell notification. And I will see you on the next round. Peace.